to Power Producers Shoptalk, where we are refining and redefining the sales game by equipping you with the tools you need to differentiate yourself in the marketplace.
Listening to the podcast is only going to get you so far. Why not take your game to the next level? Check out Power Producer Basecamp on killingcommercial.com today.
Tactical skills that'll help you provide deliverable value to your clients and prospects.
Want to have the sweet swag that we send out from the Power Producers podcast for your clients and employees? Check out policyt.com today.
And action items that you can provide to take your prospects and clients to the next level.
Want to create an online presence but don't know how to start? Check out crushingcontent.com. It's done for you, so all you have to do is show up.
This is Power Producers Shop Talk, production redefined. Are you ready to feel the power?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Power Producers Shop Talk, where we are refining and redefining the sales game. Today, we're going to get right after it, to be honest with you. We're 1 week away from Thanksgiving as I sit here recording this, which means tomorrow, when this drops, we will be inside of a week from Thanksgiving, which in my world is the official start of the holiday season. Now, this thing gets pushed back every single year, and at some point we're gonna just have all of the holidays bleed over into each other, which honestly, that's kind of what Disney has done right now with what they've turned Epcot into. It used to be that we would have food and wine festival, and that was the big, cool, unique celebration. Now we go from food and wine to Christmas around the world to the arts festival to the garden festival and right back into food and wine. And, you know, to their credit, they figured out a way to maximize what revenue they generate off of the real estate they have. And the fact they had all of these portable kiosks that got pushed out once a year, they just turned them into permanent fixtures and flipped what the theme was depending on what event it is. But I'm a purist when it comes to the seasons and the holidays and all of that stuff. Fall is my favorite time of year, always has been. And when Thanksgiving comes, I know we're in the home stretch between getting to Christmas and then also getting into the new year. And that's really kind of what I want to talk about today. When we had our monthly agency owners call for Killing Commercial yesterday, we talked about producer reviews and producer accountability and all of the stuff that goes along with that. And I'm not going to regurgitate that here, but it got me to thinking about some of the things that I've seen producers doing over the course of the last probably 6 months that are likely leading them to a false sense of security. And I think that it's really, really important that if you are a producer, that you understand that your job never ends. Now, I'm not talking about that you have to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. But I am talking about that your job as a producer, executing, utilizing the tools you've been given to go out and generate new business opportunities, present to those opportunities, and subsequently close that business never ends. No function, piece, or part of it is ever over. If you are a high-performing producer, you do this no matter what the weather looks like, no matter what day of the week it is, but most importantly, regardless of what market conditions we have. Every agency that I know has been able to experience roughly a 25% increase in organic revenue just based on renewal rates going up through no fault of their own. And that's one thing I think that leads us to a false sense of security, because at some point the market will turn, it will soften, and that revenue will go down. What have we done to protect ourselves from that? The other thing that's happening is we're having to go and reshop and remarket every single account at renewal. And I'm the first person to tell you, this is new for us. We haven't had to do this in the past. My key carriers, if I know an account walks in the front door and it fits in that box, there's no reason for me to go anywhere else. I can stick with the key carriers, and that's all I need. One quote, done. Always going to be the best pricing, always going to be the best coverage. That changed as the market started hardening. Now we have to quote every line with every carrier that we have that will write that class of business. Number one, to make sure that we're doing our due diligence and providing our client with the best coverage for the best price that fits into the overall risk management strategy that we've outlined for them. But number two, to make sure that we're protecting ourselves from somebody else doing that instead of us. And so what happens is when we realize how much time we're having to devote to this process, we find it as an excuse to not have to go out and prospect anymore. And that's a problem. In addition to the reshops and the remarkets taking up our time, we have an inordinate amount of inbound leads coming in, whether that be paid traffic or content marketing or social marketing, or simply people just going online to Google, typing in car insurance in your city. Your number pops up as number 5 on the list. They call the 4 other ones before they call you, and then they call you, and we spend all of our time working on that only to find out we were too late to the dance. We don't ever want to be the last person in the market. We can't. I mean, it just doesn't make sense for us. It's not an effective use of our time. But if we focus all our time on reshops and, quite frankly, a lot of time on low intent internet and inbound leads, we're setting ourselves up for disaster down the road. If we ever were going to prospect, now would be the time. We need to prospect right now. And we need to prospect not only because we need to have a pipeline full when the market turns and money's not as easy to come by, but we need to prospect because this is the best market to prospect in. Everybody's shopping. You've already established that by your own activities. Take advantage of the fact you may get an audience you'll never get again just due to market conditions. But I've talked about this a few different times on Shop Talk, and I'm going to keep talking about it as long as I keep hearing agents say they don't have time to prospect. It's a big problem. We did the episode on the ant and the grasshopper. This is no different. In this industry, you have to make your investments in your relationships all 12 months of the year and do it consistently, because there's going to be a time, if you've heard my relational bank account analogy, there's going to be a time where you want to make a withdrawal from your relational bank account only to find out that you're overdrawn. There's nothing there. And I feel like there's a lot of producers out there right now that are going through this. That's what they're dealing with in the marketplace. What do I hear? Oh man, it's taken forever for a wholesaler to get a quote back to me. Man, I can't get the terms I need. Man, I get automatic declines every time. Man, I can't even get a return phone call. Emails are taking 48 hours to get back. Does that sound like somebody who's got an abundant overflow in their relational bank account? No, it sounds like somebody who is operating on fumes and possibly overdrawn. See, if you want to pull favors from an underwriter, whether it be a wholesale broker or a direct carrier right now in the hardest market, and have that submission go top of stack, have you get your phone calls returned as quickly as possible, your emails as quickly as possible, it's not that they're operating outside of normal business decorum. Returning a phone call or an email in 24 hours is kind of common practice, even though we probably want to do it right away. But what we're not getting is we're not getting that call in 5 minutes, or we're not getting that quote over or pricing indication over the phone. And the reason why is because when the market was soft, when those underwriters needed us to be able to get them good accounts that they could write and build their book, we didn't do that. We didn't invest in the relationship. We did not make deposits into our relational bank account. And now when it's time for us to withdraw in the hard market, they're nowhere to be found. And I don't blame them. So think about that. Think about what your activities are and what you're doing. Where are you investing your time? And if you've never done it before, track your day. Literally, just loosely track your day. If you're going to spend an hour quoting, jot that down, but do that for a couple of weeks and kind of see where your time's going. If you're not intentionally scheduling blocks on your calendar to do these things, I encourage you to look into doing that too, because then you can get into a rhythm or a pattern and you get far more done, in my opinion. But the other thing I want you to do is think about what your goals are. What do you want to do in 2025? What areas do you want to improve in? See, one of the exercises I think every producer should do is they should create a business plan when they come into the agency, and then they should update that business plan every year. But to take it a step further, I think they not only need to update it, but they need to present it to their peers in the agency. I'll tell you what, agency principals, if you want them to take it seriously, tell them they're going to have to present in front of their peers, and I promise you they will. But I don't want to be the agency principal that says your new production goal is this, and I'm going to hold you to it. I want you to tell me what your new production goal is. I want to agree on that number with you. I mean, there's going to be some room for discussion if I don't feel that the number is accurate. I don't want a producer coming in and overinflating what they think they're going to produce any more than I want somebody coming in and projecting a very conservative amount that they know for a fact they can hit. Neither one of those does me any good. I need them to be accurate. So we need to agree upon the number. But once that happens, now I can hold them accountable to it because it wasn't something I just grabbed out of the air. Make it a point as a producer to really pay attention to your conversion percentages across the different levels of the sales cycle. Regardless of what you have set up, you have a conversion percentage of somebody going from one stage to the next. And if you don't have stages of a pipeline set up, do that. I've told you plenty of times that in my agency, we keep it simple: lead, suspect, prospect, closed won and closed lost. Those are the stages. If I need to drill down and troubleshoot, I can do that very easily. I know that if I'm not getting leads into suspects, we're not doing our cold call marketing drops and dialing for dollars. If we're not getting suspects into prospects, we're not good at delivering our value proposition. If we're not getting prospects into closed won, we're not good at closing. So then I can go into the individual stages and figure out where we're losing these people and where the fall off is. But your goal should be to identify what those conversion percentages are and then make it a goal to improve them. Then use those percentages as you project what you want to make for the year with your commission split to understand how many people you need to present to in order to close a deal. How many people do you meet with to be able to present? How many people do you call on to have to be able to meet with them? And get the percentages in each of those areas, and then every single month in 2025, update them. Because if you back it all the way into the number of dials you should make on the phone, you can keep your weekly and daily activity up to date in real time. Now, I have a really cool tool that I gave to all of the producers in Killing Commercial and Power Producer Basecamp that is a dynamic, interactive producer one-page business plan calculator. I built it in Excel. I locked the cells so you can't change the formulas, but it allows you to play with everything from how much you want to make to your average account size to your commission split to all of those conversion factors that we talked about. In the end, it's going to tell you these are how many people you need to touch every single week and every single day. But I challenge you to take this time seriously. This is the time to put the pedal to the metal. I'm not saying you need to take 3 days to go on a retreat, block yourself into a resort, and come up with an elaborate business plan. I'm telling you to get after it, finish the year strong, and put together the numbers you think you're going to hit in the commission or the conversion percentages you think you're going to hit for 2025. Present that, and then hold yourself accountable to that. The other things I think we need to pay attention to as producers as we go into 2025, and I'm going to wrap up with this, is number one, you have to have goals for self-development and self-improvement. What are you doing to make yourself better? Not just at sales, but as a human being. Perhaps you want to be a better father or a better husband, or you want to be a better friend. Whatever it is, make that a priority. Don't just put it as a goal, but put action steps in place that are clearly defined, specific, measurable, actionable. You need to put these things in place and hold yourself accountable to them, or they're not going to happen. What gets measured gets done. The other thing is, what are you doing to invest in your community? Not from a money standpoint, but from a time standpoint. What are the causes? What are the organizations that are important to you? How can you help them? Where can you give your time? Where could you give your skill set or expertise? One of the things that I think is great about what we do here is once a quarter, I give my team a paid day off for self-improvement and community service, a day for each every quarter. The only caveat is, just like the business plan, they have to come and present to their peer group after the experience to talk about what they did, why they did it, and what they learned from it. It brings the team together. It puts that person out there and gives them more practice presenting, but it also forces it to happen. I've had people do everything from volunteer to soup kitchen to volunteer at the polls for elections. I've had people go to self-help seminars and walk across hot coals with Tony Robbins, and I've had people who just go get a paperback book that focuses on a specific deficiency they have that they want to improve on and go to the beach and lay down and read for the day. I don't care what they do. I care about how much they get better, and I want them to want it for them as much as I do. So as we go into the holiday season, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the things that I'm thankful for. And first and foremost is always my family. My wife, my kids are the joy of my life. I love to travel with them. Everything I do it for them, to give them a life that they otherwise wouldn't have. I'm thankful for the community that we've built in Killing Commercial and Power Producer Basecamp. I'm thankful for all of you who listen to the Power Producers podcast. I'm thankful for the team at Policy T who's changing the way that we fulfill client appreciation gifts and employee incentives and rewards. And I'm thankful for the team at Crushing Content who's changing literally the online presence and brand for so many agencies across the country. And last but not least, I'm thankful for Insurance Futures and the team there that's educating agencies across the country on how to build a remote workforce and the corresponding culture to go with it. And last but not least, here we are. We're getting ready to come up on 9 years in at Florida Risk Partners. And I'm thankful for every client, every prospect, and every colleague that I've had a chance to encounter over the 8.5 years we've been in business. I look forward to many more, and I wish you and your family a very happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas. We'll catch you guys next time. See ya.